What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Today's positive, motivational message, similar to last week, we're keeping it short, sweet, and simple. And it is simply this: be grateful. We're in the holiday season now. Last week we talked about giving to others and being charitable. Well, this week we're talking about being grateful. Being receptive to those who give to you, and to be grateful for the things you've been given. Not just the things people give you, not just gifts or attention or things like that, but the things that you've been given in life. Your allotment in life, health, wellness, clarity of mind. It can be such simple things like that. Yes, we can be grateful for our material possessions, for the hard work we've put in, for our work ethic. It all comes, it's everything. Everything that we can possibly be grateful for, no matter how big or small, no matter how internal or external. We just need to be grateful. We need to be grateful that we can breathe air. You know, there's many people who no longer are able to do so. We're here. We're still able to do that. The simplest of things. We're able to walk on this earth. We're able to spread love and joy and positivity. And even in the times when it seems hard to feel grateful for, whatever may be going on in your life, whether it might be tumultuous or you're going through a hard time, there's always the ability to look deeper and find those things to be grateful for. So that's the focus this week. It's being grateful, being thankful for what we have in our everyday life, what you may have, the things surround you, the people in your life, everything of that nature. So I want you to focus on that. I want you to think about that this week. The things that you're thankful for, the things that you're grateful for. And we're going to go ahead and roll on into today's episode. And that brings us to what? Episode 178 of Life's a Garden. The last of the craft beers from the blind taste test, and there is a reason that this is the last one. I don't know how I didn't guess this one right. It's a pale ale, which is an IPA, and I do not like IPAs. This one is I can do it. Like, I will force this down my gullet because I spent money on it, but definitely not the beer of choice. Oh, gosh. Hey, update for everybody on the ear situation. I still can't hear shit. Yay! This is my life now. This is who I am now. Not quite that bad. Last week, my ear was fully plugged. I couldn't hear anything out of this ear. Now, it is slightly better. I can, in fact, hear things out of it, but it still feels plugged up, like there's water in there, or like I have to constantly be blowing my ears to make them pop. And it's annoying. It's fully annoying. And it's been we're steadily getting into a better place with it. Nonetheless, a week is a long time to deal with something like that. I had to deal with it in Denver. I had to deal with it over the holiday Thanksgiving. And by the time this episode comes out, I'll probably still be dealing with it, okay? I feel like Stone Cold Steve Austin down here. What? I said some Thanksgiving dinner. What? Pass me the turkey leg. What? Can't hear anything. I'm constantly, what? The amount of times I've had to like ask people to repeat themselves because they were talking on my left-hand side is unbelievable. I can't stand it. And you know what here's the crazy thing. I'm not the only person that I know dealing with this right now. That's dealing with congestion that includes the ears. I know about 6 people that have very similar things going on, which seems odd to me because, I don't get sick that often, but I know a lot of people that do. And ear congestion, ear infection, ears being plugged up does not generally seem like a common theme with illnesses. It happens, but for it to be not only multiple people in my circle that are dealing with it, but dealing with it for a extended period of time is a bit odd. So I got to thinking, shit, what if this is the new COVID? Like the last COVID made it so you couldn't smell or taste. Now they're trying to go after our hearing? Oh boy. Wouldn't that be a thing? They're just trying to like fuck all our senses up. Next will be like, God forbid, going blind. The next COVID 3.0 will be you lose your sight. Huh? Because all the symptoms, I've had a cough. I didn't lose smelling. I didn't lose taste. But it's been congestion. It's just been like a regular cold. Like what COVID is basically is. But with the added thing of the ears. So what? Is this like a COVID 2.0? And it's taken our hearing away now? Because it seems super odd that there's a lot of people I know dealing with the same thing. Prayers up that this goddamn thing goes away soon, because it's just frustrating at this point. It's when anything is out of the norm, from your regular, if you had a toothache or if you got, pink eye where your eye is shut and you can't use one eye, if you jam a finger and you can't use that finger, if anything out of your daily routine if you're not able to use it, your faculties properly, it becomes annoying. It's frustrating, it's annoying. And I'm very fucking frustrated with it. I'm gonna be one of those old people with one of those big old freaking tuba things coming out of their ears. What'd you say? One of those things that looks like it's straight out of the Grinch, straight out of Dr. Seuss, where it's like, whoop. That's literally how they used to like handle not being able to hear. You'd have to hold that big microphone thing, that big, what would you call it? Like a funnel? Like a giant funnel up to your ear so you could hear better? God. People used to live so outdated back then. What would you do if you were a caveman and couldn't hear? Die? Because you couldn't hear the wolves coming. How was everybody's Thanksgiving out there? You guys have good holiday times with the family? Did you eat a lot of turkey? What the fuck is it with turkey making you so damn tired? I hate that shit. I forget about it every year. The tryptophan. Turkey. What is it about turkey that is the only food? Now, I'm sure there's other foods that contain tryptophan. But it's the only, like, meat. It's the only animal we eat that contains tryptophan. And where did they develop this? Why do they have this? What is the purpose of it? For it being in turkey. Because the second I was done with my food on Thanksgiving, I was ready for the longest nap. And I damn near did. I damn near conked out on the floor of my family's house. But it was great dinner. Hung out with the family. Went out, hung out with Aaron for a little bit. He if I would have known he was going to be alone, I would have invited him out to our shindig, but he told me he had a gas station hamburger for Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, bro, you're a different kind of creature. What are you doing? You didn't even, the least you could have done was have a turkey sub. At least somewhat keep tradition alive. We ended up going to the bar and they had a whole bunch of food lined up there. So he did get a Thanksgiving meal, which made me feel better for him. Weird guy, that guy is. I gotta tell you about the Denver trip. So, pretty basic. We flew down. Again, the flight did in fact open up my ears a little bit. And I was like, dude, I'm in the clear. Everything's back to normal. We're all good. 2 hours later, after we landed in Denver, it closed back up again. And I was like, dude, like what a tease. What a dick tease. To have it, and I knew the flight would help. And then it just went right back to being plugged up. We went to Topgolf day 1, just chilled, went in the hot tub, which was nice. God, I've been needing a hot tub for a very long time. So that was a nice little addition. We just chilled, man. We got up in the morning. We went to the Denver sports bar. It's called the DNVR bar. It's an all Denver sports themed bar. Went over to the game for the first time. Now, I've been to Denver. I've been to Broncos games. I've been probably 9 or 10 times to Denver for a Broncos game. This is the first time we've been invited to join just a random person's tailgate. We were just walking around, chilling, hanging out, whatever, just checking everything out. And a group of guys, real cool guys, calls us over. Hey, you guys want a beer? We go over, we're chilling with them, we're just bullshitting. They start giving us food. Nicest dudes on the planet. We hung out with them all the way up until the time we had to go into the game. We go in. Very close game. Epic game. We had a couple of Vikings fans, young kids behind us, chirping in our ears the whole time. And the second we came back and won that game, those guys just boogied out of there. Didn't say a word to us. Like, we were being playful back and forth. We were just bantering, giving each other a hard time. And then sure shit, they lose and they can't, handle it anymore. They just left. I was like, man, that's some poor sportsmanship. But whatever. We won the game. It was fantastic. The Broncos truly know how to make me sweat out a win. I mean, I'm popping donut holes in my seat the whole time, chewing my fingernails down to the nub, because that's just how we play. We like to play right up until the buzzer. We're going to make us sweat it out and then have to win it on a game-winning drive, or hold out for a defensive stop. One of the two. That's just how we've been playing them lately. And I said it at the game, and I'll say it here. I've seen us lose a lot of ugly games. I'm fine watching us win a couple ugly games. That is fine by me. I don't care how pretty they were. I don't care how ugly of a win they were, or how bad everything was up until the last minute when we won. Don't care. The only thing I care about is that W. And I told you that if we beat Buffalo, we were going to be on a full turnaround. Well, guess what? We're on a full turnaround. I mean, the rest of the schedule is not that hard. There's some tough ones in there. We got the Chargers and the Raiders. They'll always play us tough. They're divisional teams. Both very winnable. We play the Chargers twice, and we play the Raiders. Winnable games. We have the Patriots, very winnable. The Lions, that was a tough game, but they're starting to look very winnable. If you saw what they did on Thanksgiving, they're very winnable now. Houston's tough, still winnable. We got Cleveland this week. They're without Deshaun Watson. Yes, they have a great defense. It's in Denver, still winnable. There's a possibility that Denver wins out. I don't think that's likely to happen, but it's possible, is the point. And either way, we're in the hunt. Even if we lose if we lose 2 out of those games, I think there's 7 games left. If we lose 2 out of the next 7, that's 10-7. We'd be 10-7. That's very much playoff territory. So, I mean, there's a lot that needs to happen. We still just got to keep winning. And I'm very hopeful that we can be on we are on a turnaround. So kudos to the Broncos for turning it around. It's made my life a hell of a lot easier. That's for damn sure, because it was looking rough for a hot second there. But anyway, the trip was great. I love Denver. You know me. I go there all the time. I'm there. This is my third trip I went down there to Denver this year. I got 2 more lined up next year already. It's my home away from home. I love Denver. It's and check this. So speaking of my love for Denver, now you know me. I've talked about this before. I'm not the guy that likes to get into internet arguments, Facebook comments, things like that. Now, I have no problem commenting on something, right? I have no issue seeing a post or seeing something that pops up and giving my 2 cents. Now, whether somebody wants to argue with me on that, it could go a couple of ways. I could choose to just completely ignore it or reason with the person, because sometimes things get misconstrued over text. So I'll explain myself if they're confusing what I'm saying. But if they're outright trying to argue with me, and of course, if I've had a couple of beverages, any dumbass thing that's on the table, I'm willing to play it. So that's the direction that this incident goes in. I find myself in a internet squabble with some dumbass Kansas City Chiefs fan. So the original post was, and it was from some random suggested site, similar to things I like. Somehow those pop up. But it wasn't even anything, it wasn't a page that I even follow. So it was just like a suggested follow page. And the picture was all 4 of the stadiums in the AFC West. So Denver, Kansas City, Las Vegas, and LA. And the caption on it was, "Which of these is the worst?" And I commented, let's make no bones about it. Kansas City is clearly the worst, and it's not even close. And of course, and I'm sure you guys are thinking, of course, Dakota, of course you would say that. You absolutely hate the Chiefs. This is a biased opinion. And while I can understand why you would say that, and yes, I do absolutely hate the Chiefs. You are correct about that. It's not bias, because I would say Vegas and LA are better than Denver because they're world-class stadiums. They're brand new. They're multi-billion-dollar world-class stadiums. Of course they're better than Denver. Denver was built in 2001. Now, while Denver has made a lot of renovations recently to make it, to keep their shit updated, we have the biggest scoreboard in the NFL, the biggest Jumbotron scoreboard. I think Dallas's TV thing is bigger, but ours counts as a scoreboard, and it's the biggest in the NFL. We've made a lot of renovations to upgrade and make our stadium nice and better, and you got the mountains in the background. The stadium itself is fantastic. And some chick, this dumbass Chiefs fan, has to come on and try and argue with me. And she says, well, have you ever been to Arrowhead? How would you know? And, well, she also asked, how would you come to that conclusion? And I basically explained what I just said to you about how the other 2 stadiums are world-class, and Denver's is just all around better. And the way I would explain it is, and I think this is actually how I explained it to her as well, I've seen many of pictures and videos of the Grand Canyon. I don't need to go to the Grand Canyon to know that it's majestic. I've seen pictures and videos of Arrowhead Stadium, and I don't need to go there to know that it's a dump. Now, I'm strictly talking about, and then she brings up, well, the tailgating and all. Yeah, I'm sure the tailgating is fine. There's a lot of places that have great tailgating. Buffalo Stadium is a fucking dump. But their tailgate situation is they say it's one of the best in any of any team in any sport. And that wasn't even part, the tailgating aspect isn't even a part of it. We're just talking about the aesthetics of the stadium. And I wouldn't even say that Arrowhead's the worst stadium in the NFL. I'm just saying it's the worst out of the 4. Now, is the city of Kansas City kind of just like bleh? Yeah, I have you could give me a list of 100 cities to visit. And if Kansas City was on it, I bet you it'd be toward the bottom. Like, I have zero interest. There's nothing drawing me to go to Kansas City whatsoever. Like, if we're talking about the uniforms, I think Kansas City has one of the worst color schemes in the NFL. That Ronald McDonald shit is bonkers. It's unbelievable that they think that that's cool. But none of that was the point. The point was the stadiums. And I made a very valid reason as to why I thought that. So then this chick decides to bring the cities into the situation, and why the cities make a big difference in the atmosphere of the stadium. So she starts tearing down Denver, saying she's been to Denver many a times, and that downtown Denver is unsafe, and it's boring, and there's a lot of homeless, and it smells like shit. I was just there. I walk around downtown Denver all the time. I'm sure there are incidents that happen that would make you feel like it's unsafe. I've never experienced them. I'm sure there are certain areas that do smell like shit. I'm sure there definitely are a lot of homeless. But guess what? It's a big city. That stuff's everywhere, right? You're going to encounter that everywhere in a big city. And then her argument as to why Kansas City is better, get this. She tried to convince me Kansas City was better than Denver by listing off all the wonderful museums they have. She just starts listing off this art museum and this museum of natural history and this whatever literature museum, and I'm like, if your case to make me think Kansas City is a fun place by listing museums, call me uncultured, but yawn. Big ol' yawn. So I start listening. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds so much funner than, the Rocky Mountain National Forest, Red Rocks, Ilitch Gardens, 16th Street, Denver Zoo, Denver Aquarium. Not to mention all 4 pro sports, unlike your bullshit only baseball and football. Baseball being the worst of the 4. And yet we have NHL and NBA, both recent world champions. And so I'm just listing off all the cool shit. Brewery tours. She didn't even mention the 2 things that I would have enjoyed, which was the food and probably the people. I'm sure, as much as I don't like Kansas City fans, I'm sure the people are fine. I've heard good things about Kansas City people. I'm sure they're nice and kind and all that shit. She didn't even mention those 2 things. I'm like, and so I list all this other shit, and dude, it was just this ongoing battle. The point being, Denver, Colorado is an absolutely awesome place. Kansas City can suck my ass. That's what I gotta say about that. I'm sure it's a fine place, let's be honest. But is it exciting? Is there anything worth going there for? No. There fucking isn't. And that's the bottom line. What? Speaking of shithole cities, San Francisco. Did you hear about this? So, San Francisco was hosting a world leaders meeting, which included the president of China. president, dictator, I don't know what you call him. But the president of China, right, is part of this world leaders meeting that's happening in San Francisco. Well, if you're unaware, basically since COVID, and probably a little bit before that, San Francisco has been dealing with an absolute homeless epidemic, which has led to many of their businesses shutting down, which has led to an increase in crime, that and the police don't do jack shit because of the whole George Floyd shit, and the defunding the police and all that. Their streets are covered in human shit and tent cities all over the place, and it just looks like Mad Max. That's what it has been. Well, these world leaders come flying in, and within a week, they clean that shit up. And Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who is running for president, said, when you have guests over in your house, you want to tidy up a little bit. So he's referring to the homeless people as filth, because the homeless people were gone. They cleaned up all the streets, they cleaned up all the tent cities, they shoved the homeless somewhere. God knows where they sent them. And said that they were cleaning house. Well, first of all, let's just say this. Why can't you do that for your own citizens? Why does it have to be... Why can't you keep a clean house for the people who live there? Why do you got to do it when fucking foreign dictators show up? Because you're slobbing on the knob of fucking China? What? I mean, that makes a lot of sense in itself. But it's like, this is America in a nutshell right here. They care more about everybody else. The United States cares more about everything else going on in the world, and I'm talking about the government, than what's going on here at home. They would rather send $6 billion to the Ukraine, a country that we didn't give the singlest of fucks about until the Russia shit happened. We would have never sent them a dime if that hadn't happened. And yet we go ahead and send $6 billion, by the way, of your tax dollars to Ukraine when you can't get your fucking street fixed. When you keep running into that pothole down the road. And we got this homeless epidemic all across the United States. Not just in San Francisco. But we can't allocate $1 billion to try and fix that problem. We can't allocate $1 billion to figure out how we can keep our schools safe so that people aren't going in and shooting them. We can't figure out $1 billion just to help boost the education system. So that this so-called, what do you call it? Fuck, I'm losing the word. The whole, race thing where, like, inner cities have worse education systems, and so there is a disparagement between race when it comes to education. Hey, allocate some money and make that shit better. Make it all across the board, everything's better. But no, we're going to send $6 billion over to Ukraine so that they can fight a proxy war. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is the same thing with what San Francisco is doing. They only gave a shit about the streets and the homeless situation when foreign leaders came in, but not when... Hell, if our own president went to San Francisco, they wouldn't give a shit. They wouldn't try and clean it up. I mean, it's not like he would notice anyway. Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. And speaking... Oh, here's another thing. So, this just reminded me of tax dollars going to... being allocated to the wrong shit. During Thanksgiving, as usual, in my family, when we have a gathering, typically around the holiday season, dinners, anything of that nature. If we have a large group of our family that's together, the conversation tends to always somehow lean toward crime and police and who's in jail and things of this nature. Well, my Aunt Roxy, who we were having dinner at her house, was telling us about how, there's been fucking shootings and crazy shit going on all over this town. Well, one of them happened right in her neighborhood, and the cops were searching around for a suspect. And they, for whatever reason, had indication that this person may or may not have been in my aunt's backyard. So they broke down her back fence, right? Turns out, they're not liable for that. There was a while back, somebody barricaded themselves in a person's home. That's happened twice, actually, in the last, calendar year. One was, I don't remember the locations. One was very close to my house. And they were shooting rounds into this house. The other person that broke into the house was breaking shit. And like I said, they were shooting into the house. Breaking out windows and things like that. Did you know, in an incident such as that, the city of Billings does not have to repair that? How is that even remotely okay? I understand that the police have to do certain things in situations like that, but how can you just recklessly go around just breaking down doors and busting out windows and shooting into people's houses, and there not be a fund to fix that? Our tax dollars pay the police. How do we not have a tax dollar that covers incidentals like that? In addition, homeowner's insurance doesn't cover it. You have to pay a deductible. Now, if my house gets hailed out, if I get a hailstorm and it busts out my windows and dents up my roof, insurance is on top of that. Because it's a natural disaster. But what's more likely to happen? You tell me. Is it more likely that a hailstorm's going to roll by, bust out my windows, and ding up my roof? Or that the police are going to shoot a bunch of holes in the side of my house? What seems more likely to you? Bet you guessed the hailstorm. So why in a freak accident, a freak event, where essentially vandalism is taking place, how is vandalism not considered, I guess because you can just vandalize your own home and call it, and get insurance money? But if there's a documented situation where the police are involved, like I said, even if the insurance company, which is bullshit in itself, doesn't cover it, how does the city of Billings not have any responsibility to fix that? The cops are just able to go willy-nilly around and busting down doors and doing all this shit on civilians' homes in the pursuit of trying to catch a suspect? That seems like absolute bullshit to me. Those are tax dollars that we're paying for. It is the most infuriating thing to think about, how just arbitrarily our tax dollars get used. It's sickening, to be honest. But yeah, I had to think about that. I that just came up in my head after talking about the tax dollar shit. Yeah, so whatever. Oh, reminder to everybody out there, the holiday giveaway. Nominate somebody, write in or send a video message and nominate somebody who you think deserves a little something extra here this holiday season. We're looking for people that are in need or people who just are good people who genuinely help the community or are just good members of society. It doesn't have to be somebody who's in need necessarily. It could also just be somebody who is well deserving of a little something extra just because they themselves are just a good-hearted person. So think about that. Nominate somebody if you have anybody in mind. And we got a few weeks still to get those in and to do all that. So, and in addition, we do have the details on the band giveaway. So for the band giveaway, there's going to be 3 winners. We're going to have 3 winners chosen. Top prize, and it's just going to be random. We're going to put names in a hat and draw them out, do it that way. First prize is a signed CD and $40 worth of merch. So you can get a hat, a shirt, a beanie, any combination, or you can get like a hoodie, which is $40, or you can get a hat and a shirt, or a beanie and a shirt, or 2 beanies or 2 hats, whatever you want. $40 worth of merch at our merch store. Prize 2 will be a signed CD and $20 worth of merch. So a hat, a shirt, a beanie, something that you don't have or something that you want out of those. And then prize 3 will just be a signed CD. But all giveaway, it costs nothing to do it. All you have to do, so here's what it is going to take to enter for that. All you got to do is share a link to our new record, Palomar. You can share it from Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever. You can share from any platform, and you can share on any of your social medias. So Facebook, Instagram, X, whatever. But here's the important thing. You have to tag us in it. So you have to share it, tag us, or send us a screenshot, because, we're not on all the social medias. But tag us so that we can see it. We'll get your name written down. And you can get entered up to 3 times. So between now and, let's say, the middle of December, because I'm not sure when our Christmas party is going to be, because we always do we're going to announce it at our Christmas party. Between now and then, you can share up to 3 times, but here's the thing. It has to be from 3 different, what do you call it? 3 different sites. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple. If you shared 1 time for each of those on any social media platform, it doesn't matter. Like I said, Instagram, Facebook, it can be the same platform. But if you're gonna, or it can be the same social media, but you have to share at least 3 different platforms, and you'll be entered up to 3 times to win. Now we're probably only gonna do 1. We want to do 3 different winners, so your name will be in there 3 times. You'll have 3 chances to win one of the prizes. But if you get, let's say, if you win prize number 1, and then for somehow we pull your name for prize number 2, we're gonna re-pull because we want 3 different winners. But you'll have 3 opportunities. You'll get more chances than somebody who only shares once. You know what I'm saying? So your odds do go up. So that's the band giveaway. I wanted to talk about that because I hadn't brought that up yet. Or I talked about it last week, but I didn't know the details. So I don't know how many of you out there have heard the story about the couple who had triplets here in Billings. It's been on national news. It's been on Good Morning America. They've talked about it on the news here. It's a very trending thing going on right now. Well, I happen to know those 2 people. Fairly good friends with Sammy and Theo. I've hung out with them many times. They're friends of Pow. So I'm the link. Pow's the link between us and them. But I do know them. I've hung out with them many times. Great people. And so it's very intriguing from that perspective to see what's going on with all that. Crazy situation. It's a one in a million type of situation where they had triplets. They didn't meet any of the criterias for people who could have triplets between, their age. They don't have it. Neither of them have twins or anything like that run in their family. Just all that stuff involved. And somehow, some way, they had triplets. It's just the most crazy thing. And they're all identical. Even though 2 of them shared a birthing sac and 1 of them shared a separate one, but they all shared the same placenta. So they're identical twins. Or, sorry, identical triplets. It's just a crazy case, and it's very cool. The babies just came home. Because, God, they had to spend, 3 months in the hospital. First, she had to spend a whole month there beforehand just for the pre-stuff. And then once the babies were born, they had to stay in the hospital for another 2 or 3 months to in the NICU and whatnot, just to be monitored, and because they had to be born premature because she wouldn't be able to carry them that long to full term. But yeah, so pretty cool situation. Now, of course, that got me to thinking, how would it be to be a twin? Like, I've always thought about that. And my sister was supposed to be a twin, not identical. Now, here's the thing. Twins, the idea of being a twin is very cool, in my opinion. To have, somebody your age, sibling, and then you have that, like, weird twin chemistry, right? Now, I'm specifically talking about fraternal twins. To be an identical twin, now that would be kind of weird for me. Now, let me explain. Essentially, you're always just looking in a mirror. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. You don't really have your own identity, because your identity is also their identity. Now, obviously, you can become different people. You can have different likes and different interests and things like that. I think the worst thing you can do to kids that are twins is dress them the same all the time. It's cute every now and again, but if you're constantly dressing them in the same outfits and giving them the same haircuts, they're going to completely lose their sense of individual identity. And it's crazy to think that, like, literally down to their cells, they are the same person. They're going to have the same blood type. They're going to have the same hair color. They're going to have the same eye color. And obviously, like, once they get older, they'll be able to, like, do different things with their hair to, like, make themselves more individual and, like, have more of an individuality to themselves. It'd be fun. Now, one thing that would be cool to have a twin is it'd be fun to prank people. Like, that would be a blast, pranking people and doing shit like that. I would 100% be doing that shit. But, now, everything I just said about being a twin, being an identical twin, having, just the identity crisis, and essentially, here's the other thing. Not only is your identity literally somebody else's identity, but your identity then also becomes you're a twin. Forever, you'll always be like, oh, there's the twins. Oh, look, there's one of the twins. Like, your identity becomes being a twin. Now, think about that, but at a third person. Now, there's some real identity crisis. Not only is there one other person that looks just like you, but there's two. That would be absolutely mind-fucking. Now, and the other crazy thing for them as parents, this was their first pregnancy. So, rather than having to start out with one kid, which is already a task, you're getting triple duty. That's just bizarre to me. But for me, the whole twin and triplet thing would just be an absolute identity crisis for myself. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can only experience life through your own experiences. So they would never know anything different than being a twin. But there's gotta be twins out there that look at just people who are individuals and think, God, it would just kind of be nice to be my own person. And granted, they are their own person. They have their own thoughts and feelings and emotions and all that shit. But there's also somebody else out there that looks just like you. And then the whole, like, you're always going to be mistaken for the other one. That's going to be a huge That's just one of those things that's like, no, I'm this person. I'm not that twin. I'm the other one. I don't know. That's just a thought that ran in my head when the whole triplet story came out. Check. Okay, thank God. Earlier, the fucking audio went out. And that's just... It's bad enough I can't hear. And now the audio is going out on my system. It's like it's trying to fuck me over. Well, suppose we're getting... How much do I have? I feel like because of the audio issues I had earlier, my timing's all fucked up. So I'm sure we have a lot more to do here. We're on to Christmas now. Thanksgiving's over. We're on to Christmas. I got to go out and put my Christmas lights up this weekend, which is going to be so fun because it's freezing out. Of course, right before I go to put the Christmas lights up, the snow has to start coming down. But if I do it early enough, I mean, I'd rather do it now than when it's dumping snow. So, I'll make sure to do that. Get the Christmas lights up. Got to get... Oh, dude. You know how I always rave about having a company Christmas party? I love doing that. It's cool to hang out with people from work outside of work and do like a little something like that. They haven't announced the date that they're going to do it on, but I just know they're going to do it during the next UFC fight because every year they do it during the UFC fight. And just so happens, I don't want to miss this year's UFC fight. The ones in the past, I've been able to be like, okay, I can sacrifice watching this to go to the party. Not this year. The next pay-per-view is off the charts. I'm going to be down there at 6 o'clock watching them. The early cards are phenomenal. There's no chance I'm missing this card. And in all honesty, I don't even care missing the Christmas party at this point because I'm so sick of work that I don't really need to see them outside of work. It's cool that they do that for the company and for the employees, but I don't really want to hang out with half those people anymore. There's a lot of people I do like from my work, but God, there's a few that I could just wring their goddamn necks. And so for that, don't really want to go. I want to watch people wring each other's necks. I want to actually watch that. So, that's what I'm going to do instead. But they haven't announced the date yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed I can do both. That'd be choice. But I already know they're going to fuck me over on this, and they're going to make it on the same day as that UFC fight. The last UFC fights were pretty good. Probably the quickest cage time I've seen on a pay-per-view. I don't think there was only one fight that went out of the first round. And it was the main event. Pretty sure all the other fights went into ended in the first round. Maybe one other one went into the second, but they all were by finish. Either by knockout or submission. Alex Mejia, man. He's a fucking beast. Alex Mejia is for him to do what he's done in the UFC with as short a time as he's had is nothing short of phenomenal. So, kudos to him. I'm going to leave you with this because, like I said, the timing issues, I had some audio issues there for a minute. I had to cut out a certain amount of time. I don't know how much time I had to cut out. So this might be a short episode, and if that's the case, I apologize. Blame the system here because I'm not sure exactly how much time I've had. So for that, I apologize. It might be a short episode, but I will leave you with this, and I guarantee this will be worth it because if we're going to go out, we're going to go out on a strong note here. So a couple weeks ago, I had a very peculiar dream. And it's very short and simple. There's really not a whole lot to it, you know. I'm one that dreams very vividly. I have very detailed dreams. So there's when I wake up, I remember a lot of it. Straight up down to sights and smells and certain colors I see, events that happen. It's very specific half the time. This was not one of those situations. This is one that's very basic, very to the point, and again, very peculiar. I had a dream that I don't remember the situation that I was in. I don't know why this happened, but I saw Zac Efron's penis. I think I was watching a show, and it wasn't in person. I saw Zac Efron's penis on a movie or some video that I was watching. And then I looked down at my penis. And I audibly said out loud, "We have the same penis." I said, I have the exact, I think my specific words were, "I have the exact same penis as Zac Efron." And that's the dream. That's it. That was the whole dream. Me coming to the realization that I have the same penis as Zac Efron. Now, some people claim that dreams have meaning. Some people claim that dreams are the mind trying to figure out problems that are going on in the brain. It's the unconscious mind trying to solve problems that the conscious mind cannot. Well, let me ask you, what the fuck does that dream mean? What's going on there? If dreams have meaning, what does it mean? Why did I think that? Why did I dream that? And what problem, what issue could my unconscious mind possibly be trying to solve with that? And I'll leave you right there. I'll leave it right at that. I hope you can help me out with this problem. I don't understand. Is there some hidden message to decipher? I don't know. But all I can tell you is, if me and Zac Efron do in fact have the same penis, he's a lucky guy. Thank you guys so much for joining me this week. I appreciate you all. And again, don't forget to send in those nominations for the holiday giveaway. Be thankful. Be grateful for all the things in your life. I'm grateful for you for listening to this show. Just throughout the week, be conscious of the things that you're grateful for all the things that are in your life. And one thing that we can definitely not be grateful for is the way our tax dollars get used. So I'd like to see that change. I'd be grateful for that. Nonetheless, let's be grateful. Let's be thankful. Let's go forward with that positive energy and thinking, and just thinking of all the things that we are very thankful and grateful for. And one thing I'm grateful for is, of course, the one thing that we all know. And that is, life's a garden. Dig it.
Just gotta keep on keeping on.
Why don't you talk in the microphone? I got a back right here. Back of my. Life's a garden, dig it.